All right. Hi, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. People may be joining us here in a little bit, and that's okay. But my name is Amber Wyack. I'm the Director of Student Housing, and I have Eric and Marie here with me. So I'm going to have them introduce themselves.
I'm Eric. I'm the Administrative Coordinator for Student Housing.
And hi, I'm Marie. I'm a College of Pharmacy student here and I live in student housing. I'm one of the community managers.
All right. We just want to thank you all for taking some time out of your Thursday evening to join us for a question and answer session about student housing. I just want you all to know that we are recording this so that people who aren't able to make it will be able to view it later. Just want to throw that out there. So kind of the agenda for tonight is we're going to talk a little bit about on-campus housing, a little bit about Woodlands housing, and then Marie is going to give a tour of her apartment on campus. And then we're going to turn it over to you all for any questions that you have. You can go ahead and use the chat feature to put your questions in the chat. And when we get to that point, I'll start reading the questions and then either Eric, myself, or Marie will go ahead and answer those questions. So I'll go ahead and start and talk about on-campus housing. So on-campus housing has 3 buildings. They're each 5 stories tall. They have 2 elevators and 2 stairwells, and they're made up of 1-bedroom apartments, all with the same layout, and shared 2-bedroom apartments, all with the same layout. So you would have a roommate, but in those 2-bedroom apartments, you would have your own bedroom, your own bathroom, and then you would share that living room, dining, and kitchen area. So part of on campus is that it is on campus, and the payment goes directly through your student account. So exactly how you pay for your tuition is how you're going to pay for student housing. The only outside bill is your electric bill, and that runs about $15 to $20 per month, depending on how often you use your electricity. In on-campus housing, we have a community manager for each building. So like Marie said, she's one of our community managers. They kind of help students with their day-to-day questions that they have about housing, whether it's filling out a work order or questions about finding a good roommate or moving apartments. They also do a lot of social events in person when it's not COVID. Right now they're doing a lot of virtual or like leaving things in the lobby for students to kind of grab and go. So that's a unique feature to on-campus housing, is that resource for you right there. And I think that those are all kind of like the basic things about on-campus housing. As always, if you have questions, feel free to throw them in the chat and we'll get to those. But I'll turn it over to Eric now. So he's going to talk a little bit about what the Woodlands has to offer.
So the Woodlands is a property that is still privately owned, but there's a partnership between the university wherein the university has rented out all 201 apartments at the Woodlands for the next many years, exclusively for RFU students. There are 7 different buildings at the Woodlands, one of which is designated as a pet-friendly building. There are 7 different styles of apartments. 3 of them are 1-bedroom style apartments. The other 4 styles are 2-bedroom apartments that you would share with a roommate. The utilities included at the Woodlands are the water, sewer, trash, and also the university Wi-Fi is extended over to the Woodlands as well. The utilities that you'd be responsible for are the electric and the water. All of the prices, floor plans, and such are listed on the website. So they're all there for you to look at. There's also lots of pictures of the apartments. Unfortunately, we don't have someone to do a tour of the Woodlands today, but there are plenty of opportunities for you to take a look at what the apartments look like online. And then I guess we can go over to Maria if she's ready.
Yeah, Maria, you ready to give a tour of your apartment?
I'm ready.
All right.
Let's do it. Hello, everyone. Like I said, I'm a community manager. I live in one of the on-campus student housing buildings. So I live in building 2. They're all the same. It's just the positioning of the buildings are a little different. So this is the front door. So we'll start from here. I'll just flip you around. So
I don't think we can hear you, Marie.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. Yep.
Oh, that's so weird. Okay, well, okay, so from the front, so facing the front door, when you first come in, this is what you're seeing. So you basically see like down into your living room. And then right next to you is this huge closet. It's like it's a coat closet. For me, it's a coat closet and a pantry. So I converted it. I know in the doubles, I'm in a single, so my layout will be the single layout. But in the double, there's the washer and dryer are located in this front closet. That's specific for the double bedroom. So that's there. And then you come into the kitchen. So I have a lot of stuff. There's plenty of counter space. Sorry, I'm struggling with where I'm pointing right now, but there's plenty of counter space. The fridge is, it's a really big fridge. It's not like a college sized fridge. It's pretty good.
They go into their teammates.
And then as you come in, it kind of just opens up into the den. So it's really a big space. So I actually have like a full-on kitchen table that I use as a desk, a big couch, and then my boyfriend's playing Warzone, and then I have an exercise bike to keep me sane. I'm so sorry. And then this is kind of it's just like a big square, so it opens up the kitchen to out here, which is really nice.
Where did that team of three come from?
And convenient. And then as you keep going, you go on into the bedroom, basically through a separated bedroom. There's a door and everything. It's not like a studio or something like that. So as you come in, again, it's massive. I think it's the same size as the living room. So it's a huge amount of space, enough for, I have a queen bed and a dresser. So it's really a lot of space. And then this room, I know in the other room, the blinds were drawn. So the windows are huge. They go over pretty much the whole wall, which is really nice. And there's one in here. It's the same thing in the den area. So massive windows. My room, the way that I face, I look at school. But you could look at school, or you could look out the back. There's like a little pond sort of a deal back there. So, I like my view. I see the soccer field. So to each their own, I still think it's peaceful. Seeing school is kind of stressful. And then you kind of come down this little hallway off your bedroom, and there's a huge closet. It's pretty much the same as the closet in the entranceway. So it's massive. I have a lot of stuff in here. I'm so sorry, but it goes back like super far. So it doesn't end right here. It continues back probably I want to say 3 more feet. So it's really nice, really good for storage, anything like that. And then in the singles, like I said, in the doubles, your washer and dryer are in the front area, but in the singles, it's actually in your bedroom. So you have this little door, and then your washer and dryer live behind it. So they're the stackable ones. They're super convenient. First I kind of thought that the size of the washer was a little small, but I'm surprised how much I can put in it. And then it makes you do your laundry more often, so it's all good. And then the bathroom opens up off of the bedroom, and then it's just a simple bathroom and a shower with not a detachable head, but it's a nice shower. It really, and I think there's a tub too if you're into that. So everything, I really like student housing. My friends lived in the Woodlands and I liked it too. So I think they're both really great options. I can't wait to hear what questions you guys have.
All right, thank you for showing us your apartment. We really appreciate that. Again, that was the on-campus 1-bedroom apartment. The on-campus 2-bedroom apartment, the only thing different is there's another door that you would go through, and then it would be the identical bedroom and bathroom and closet in there. So kind of where Marie's kitchen table, dining table was, there would be a door there, and that would go into the other bedroom for the other person. So that is kind of our agenda now. So if you all have questions, definitely utilize the chat. We've had one question come in so far, and that was which apartment is that? And that was the on-campus 1-bedroom apartment that Marie had shown us. Are there any other questions that anybody wants to put in the chat so that we can answer them for you? This is really a time for you to learn more about what move-in looks like or what the application process looks like, how to pick your roommate, anything along those lines. So we do have a question here. Is water included over at the Woodlands? Eric?
Yeah, water, sewer, and trash are all included in the rent. You just pay gas and electric.
Yep. Students are asking how early can you move in for August? Like how many days in advance can you move in for August? And that really depends on the apartment availability. So typically we have students move in the weekend before orientation. But if you have a special situation and your apartment is available early, you absolutely can move in sooner. Eric, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Just that all the leases end March 31st. So availability after June 9th or so, after we get a chance to turn over apartments, really starts to open up quite a bit. Moving in for May orientation is always a bit of a squeeze because of that overlap between when the leases end and when May orientation is. But for August, typically, we're pretty flexible as far as when you could move in. We picked the 7th because that's the date closest to orientation, so it would lower your expenses the most. But there's usually plenty of available apartments for earlier move-in.
Perfect. Thanks, Eric. Eric, also, do you want to talk a little bit about how people can find roommates?
Yeah, so I think the most popular venue is the Facebook that is given to you for your program. Obviously, that kind of silos you into your program and your class. A little bit wider array could come from our housing forums, which can be linked to from the website. There's a place on there where students can post things that they're selling or post looking for a roommate.
Thank you. We had a question on if the apartments are unfurnished, and both the on-campus and Woodlands apartments are both completely unfurnished. So the appliances are included, but there's no furniture. The university does have 2 companies that students have recommended in the past, and those are both on our website. And they offer package deals for a set amount a month, and then they will drop off the furniture. You will use it for that time that you're in housing, and then they'll come and pick it up when you're ready to move out. But the apartments do come unfurnished. Let me look here to see what our next question is. Eric, do you want to talk a little bit about how they can find the application and how they apply for student housing?
Yep, the application is available online. You can't click more than 2 times on our pages without finding the application. It's pretty prominent. Or if you wanted to email into student housing, I could send it to you. It's a no commitment, no cost application. It does get you a queue for an apartment, so it kind of gives you a space in line to get one, but there's not a commitment or a cost or any kind of money down with the application.
Marie, we had a question about if where a first-year student should live, if there's a preference between on campus or the Woodlands. Do you want to talk about maybe student perspective of the differences between the 2?
Sure. So I've been in the same apartment. I'm in my 3rd year right now. I've moved in my first year. So I'm from out of state. I have family in the area, but being in graduate school, I wanted to make sure that I had my own study area and my own, like living quarters that I could really make my own if I'm here for 4 years. So I've been here since the first year. I think it's really convenient. Obviously with COVID and everything being online, being so close to campus maybe isn't as much of a necessity since you can do it all on your computer at this time. But, early last year in my first year, it was super helpful for me to know that if I forgot something that I needed in class, I needed 5 minutes to walk across the parking lot. And that's the same for Woodlands. They're actually, I said I could see a soccer field. They're on the other side of the soccer field. So it's either you walk 10 minutes to student housing or you walk 10 minutes to the Woodlands. So and that's probably 10 minutes there and back. So it's really convenient to be here. I do really like it. It gives me a lot of peace of mind too. There's our school's security patrols both student housing and Woodlands like 24/7 all through the night. You can always call them. They're, they respond to everything. Even if you don't feel comfortable walking to your car, they'll come by and make sure that they'll either drive you to your car or pick you up, or if there's bad weather, they'll drop you off at your apartment. So there's definitely lots and lots of perks of being on campus. If you were looking to go outside, there are some apartment complexes that you can do that are also in the area. So still relatively convenient, but I don't think anything will get as convenient as 10-minute walk there and back. And then beyond that, for each program, I think it's different, but probably for the most part, it's all the same. We're all in graduate school. But in my program, my first year, there were a lot of students that either lived at home or commuted from the city or beyond. And very quickly, people started moving into student housing like halfway through the year, or moving into apartments that were closer, just because it's really, you lose a lot of study time traveling like that, and it's not as convenient. So I think if you're considering it, definitely make sure that that's a role. And when you're looking at apartments, think about your transit time and think about how you're going to get to point A and point B. I know, like, people say I can study on the train, but the train doesn't drop you off right at school. So once you get here, you have to make sure that you know a ride, or that the school bus is going to pick you up and take you to the train at the right time, or pick you up from the train and bring you to class at the right time. So I think from my point of view, from my perspective, it was really helpful for me to be on campus and to be close, and everything that I need is in the area too. There's several grocery stores, libraries, Starbucks, you name it. The coffee supply is good. So yeah.
Thank you. We had a question about if there's a fitness center on campus or at the Woodlands. So there is not a fitness center in the on-campus apartment buildings. There is a fitness center in the main campus building, and there are talks of reopening that with the restrictions due to COVID. So that's exciting that that's going to open up again. And like Marie said, it's less than a 10-minute round trip to and from the fitness center to your apartment. And then at the Woodlands, there is a fitness center at the Woodlands. And I believe that they are on a restricted schedule due to COVID, Eric?
Yeah, they've got it by appointment now, so you can kind of just schedule to go in. If you want to go in, you're still able to go in with your roommate, if that's, to get the two of you in. But yeah, currently that's how it is, but I imagine it'll start opening up again as well.
And then Eric, we've also, people are having a few more questions about roommates and how they find them, but then also if they've already been assigned an apartment and they've already applied, but they find someone they want to live with later on and before moving in, what does that process look like? Do you want to speak about that? Yeah,
so typically we will match roommates for anyone who does not have one. If you don't end up getting a roommate, you're still only responsible for your half of the rent. You won't have to pay for the whole thing. In the event that you find someone who you would like to have as your roommate, it's very simple. You just send an email to student housing indicating them by name and that you'd like them to be a roommate, and then have them also do the same thing but indicate you by name, and then we can put you together, assuming I have an apartment that has both bedrooms open.
My dog may start barking, so I apologize in advance. But we have a question about how difficult it is to have a single room as a first-year student. Eric, do you have a second to talk about that before DuPont starts barking?
Well, obviously the single rooms only fit half as many people as the double rooms, so you can only get half as many in there. And at the Woodlands, they are significantly in less supply than the two bedrooms. So it is a little bit more difficult to get a one bedroom than a two bedroom. If you're looking for the one bedroom, I would implore you to apply quickly. And then, the other option is to rent a full two-bedroom apartment on your own, which is another way you could do that if you wanted to avoid having a roommate, but that becomes a little prohibitive because of the cost. But privacy is a luxury.
We had a question about the laundry facilities at both properties. So on campus has a washer and dryer in each apartment. So like Marie had shown in her apartment, there's a stackable washer and dryer in each apartment. There you go. And also in student housing, there is a common washer and dryer that students use usually for their anatomy scrubs, because you don't want to put those in like your own washer and dryer. So there's a dedicated anatomy scrubs laundry facility in each building of student housing. And then at the Woodlands, there is a laundry room in each building. And Eric, do you know the cost of those?
It's $1.25 to wash and $1.25 to dry. Last time I was in there, I don't anticipate that changing soon. And then at the Woodlands, there is one style of apartment that does have an in-unit washer and dryer, and that unit is called the Sycamore. All the apartments at the Woodlands are named after trees because it's the Woodlands.
We had a question about transportation services to grocery stores if you don't have a car. So Campus Safety does provide a shuttle that goes to the metro station, but also once a week, it does make a stop at the local grocery store and Target, and there's a few restaurants in that area as well. So you can hop on the shuttle. I think it's Wednesdays at 6 and take care of what you need to do, and then they'll pick you back up. If that time and date does not work for you because of your academic schedule, you just let the driver know, hey, this isn't going to work. Can I select a different time and date? And they will work with you on what that availability looks like. And kind of going off of that, Marie, we had a question about what kind of stores and restaurants are around the area. Could you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, I can. So right around the school, nothing per se is necessarily walkable. Right off of the main road on campus, there's not necessarily like a designated sidewalk right next to the school. So you'd have to go down like maybe a half a mile before, a quarter mile before the sidewalk truly starts. So everything's in close quarters, but not necessarily walkable, especially in the cold weather, definitely not walkable. But if you go down, it's probably, oh man, I'm so bad with like judgment. So if somebody wants to cut me off here and tell me, give the right answer, but I think it's like 3 miles or so down the road. I hope I'm saying the right thing, but there's a Target, there's a grocery store called Heinen's that are, they're back to back, actually all touch each other. And then there's things like Subway Jimmy John's, there's an ice cream store, there's Chipotle, there's a burger place. So there's a hairdresser place. So there's a lot of things in kind of like a strip mall fashion. And that's, I would say, the closest. And then the second closest major plaza is, has a Jewel Osco. So another really big grocery store that's not necessarily as expensive as the other one is Heinen's. And then right next to Jewel Osco, it goes into this area that's basically like a small little downtown area for the town, the next town over from the school, which the school basically touches the border of it. The school's in North Chicago, but it basically touches the border of Lake Bluff. So it's like a Lake Bluff and a Lake Forest downtown, but it's so close that it's not like you're like thinking out of your mind, like, oh, I'm going 2 towns over to go grocery shopping. But in that downtown area, there's like anything you can think of. There's Starbucks, there's Dunkin' Donuts, there's clothing stores, there's like food there. Everything is down there. I will say though, down there is definitely not like college oriented. So some of the things are definitely significantly more expensive. I wouldn't go clothing shopping down there as a college student. So just kind of keep that in mind. But, there's the food down there. It's all really tasty. So if I know that my friends and I, before COVID, tried to make it a thing where at least once a week, we all went down to the Mexican restaurant called Authentico and just had a good time and really enjoyed it. So the location is nice in the sense that you can make it work and you can find your places that you like to go that are reasonable. Definitely, for sure.
Thank you. We had a question about parking availability and prices. So as a student, you can buy a parking pass for anywhere on campus, and that I think is $20 or $25 for the entire time that you're a part of our university. So it's a one-time fee, and you can park anywhere on campus except like the faculty and administration parking. But there is lots very close to student housing, just like there's like a little road in between them, and then there's, if you're in like building 301, there's another little parking lot right behind it for you as well. Eric, do you want to talk about parking at the Woodlands?
Yeah, there's no fee to park at the Woodlands. You're allowed to bring 2 cars per apartment. They do have a permit that you'll have to keep in on your rear view mirror just so that they can keep track of who is where if they ever need to contact you about your car. And if you lose the permit, I believe it's a $25 fee. However, if you want to go onto campus, your Woodlands permit won't be enough. You'll have to buy the on-campus permit. Typically, it's easier to walk, though. I've found you can walk there in the time it takes to turn left to get out of the parking lot. So, or in the time it takes you to warm up your car, you could be there in the winter.
We had a question about more information on the RFU shuttle. So that is run by our campus safety department. So if you were to go to the campus safety, either website or Insight page, they would have their updated shuttle schedule. I'm not sure what the updated times are due to COVID or due to the end of the quarter, but that's where they're the ones who run that shuttle, so that they would have more information on that. We had a question on if there is washer and dryer hookups at the Woodlands, and there is not washer and dryer hookups in the apartments. There's just the Sycamore apartment that does have the washer and dryer in the apartment. I think I have that right, correct, Eric?
Yeah, you can't bring your own washer and dryer.
We have Marie, this may be a good question for you. If I'm coming from out of state, would you recommend that I bring my car?
I came out of state and I brought my car. There are days when sometimes I sit there and I'm like, I really probably didn't need a car here. But then on the contrary, there are definitely days when it's cold out and I need to go to the grocery store, and I'm kind of glad that I don't have to wait on a schedule of like, okay, I can't go until if the shuttle goes at 6, maybe my classes end exactly at 6. So I know I'm not going to be able to make it on the shuttle. So from a convenience point, I really do enjoy having my car here. I really do appreciate it. And especially since things aren't necessarily walkable, in a sense, it gives you a lot more liberty and leeway. But that being said, I have neighbors and friends in my program that live on my floor that we're just kind of closer. And if he needs something, he'll text me and we make it work. And so it's not necessarily something that it's definitely it's a comfort, and it's it's a nice advantage to have it. But if for whatever reason you couldn't bring your car, or at the last minute that wasn't going to work out, there's other ways to go about it. It's not going to be the end all be all if you don't have a car up here. But I definitely do enjoy it and think that it's a lot easier to kind of get around and to do what I want to do with my car.
Thank you. We had a question, what appliances are included in the apartments? So for on campus, there is like the full-size refrigerator, a stove and oven, a microwave, a dishwasher. I think those are all of the appliances that are on campus. Eric, is there anything different at the Woodlands?
At the Woodlands, it's the same thing. It's the full kitchen package, washer or dishwasher, microwave, oven, stove, and a refrigerator and a freezer. They're a fully functional kitchen.
We had a question. They just want to confirm that students who are moving in August, those like assignments and move-in information will come out in July, and it will come out the end of June, beginning of July, sometime in that time period. You'll learn about where you're living, who you're living with, if you have a roommate, what the move-in instructions look like. If you are living at the Woodlands, you'll find out your apartment assignment when Eric sends you the offer. On campus, when you apply, we send you a contract, and then based on what your preferences were is where you'll be placed in the apartment. And then in that end of June, beginning of July is when we'll send out which specific apartment it is that you're going to be assigned to. There's a couple questions about parking. So just to clarify, the parking permit is for on campus only. That's the one that's like $20 or $25, and that's just a one-time fee. And then at the Woodlands and on campus, there is no assigned apartments based on no assigned parking based on your apartment assignment. So it's just like an open lot, or at the Woodlands right outside, like the perimeter of all the buildings is all of the parking spots. So you would just find a place there to park.
And then there's visitor parking at the Woodlands as on the perimeter. So folks are encouraged to kind of leave the closer spaces for residents, and then visitors park off on the sides. There's ample parking.
Eric, can you talk again about which utilities are included for both properties, as well as like what Wi-Fi looks like?
Yeah, so on campus, you pay only for your electricity, and that's metered, and you pay it directly to the utility company. So as soon as you move, you establish your account, and then you'll receive bills from the electric company, and then you just pay them directly. At the Woodlands, it's a similar thing. You have a metered electric account and a metered gas account. So you'll pay for both of those directly to the utility company. Wi-Fi is the university Wi-Fi and access to all university servers, and that is spread out over the on-campus and also at the Woodlands.
Thank you. We had a question about when students can expect their move-in instructions for May move-in, and that's a rolling process. So some students, I think at the Woodlands, maybe have received their move-in instruction, and on campus, those will be coming within the next week or so. So look, if you've applied and have received your contract offer and signed that contract or lease, look for that information in the coming week. And the application is the same for both on campus and the Woodlands. So it has all of the apartment layouts, and you have an option to mark your preferences, what you most want to live in, what you least want to live in, and kind of a why, like why you want to live on campus or at the Woodlands. And then based on availability, Eric and I will send you a contract or lease that is most lined with your preferences.
On the application, there is a option for you to choose either a May 12-month lease or start in August for a 10-month lease. So for some reason this year, the theme has been that folks have accidentally chosen the wrong one. So if you are anticipating that you should have already gotten an assignment for May and you have not, maybe send in an email to student housing, because it's possible that the wrong box was checked, because most May assignments have already gone out.
Thank you. Marie, can you talk a little bit about the DNA Cafe, the cafeteria, and what those meal choices look like for DNA Cafe?
So the DNA Cafe, I'll kind of speak non-COVID and COVID. Hopefully when you guys come in, it'll be non-COVID style. But the DNA Cafe, it's on campus, on I think the first floor. I don't know. I get a little confused because the buildings, they change at a certain point. But it's the meal options when you're actually in there. They have like several food stations. So I know I can remember on Mondays when we were in person, Mondays was like Sushi Monday. So they always had sushi come in, and they would make rolls right there for you as you ordered, which was really nice. There's always a grill. So there's always like burgers. They have like vegetarian burgers. They have lots of options that route, cheese, grilled cheese or quesadillas, that sort of a deal. And like a rotating station where there would be kind of all sorts of foods. Like some days it was a build your own salad bowl. Some days it was make your own ramen. Other days, I'm having a brain fart, but like very interesting things that would come through. But it's always set up where you're ordering it and somebody's physically preparing it for you and then kind of giving you the final product at the end. So I thought that was kind of nice that as you're ordering like your ramen bowl, you're not worrying like, is everybody sticking like the wrong scoopers into the wrong areas? So definitely if you have allergy concerns, they do a great job of taking care of that sort of stuff. And then there's always a salad bar in the middle. And they also had like a frozen yogurt area. If you're really into the sweets, they have good candy options if you need a little pick me up between classes. And then they also have a coffee bar where it was like Starbucks style. You could order anything under the sun that you thought would taste good, mochas and lattes, and they make it happen. So I that's one of the things I miss the most about being on campus, because all the people in the DNA cafe were always so nice and so kind. So I definitely miss seeing them and being there, and yeah, that sort of a deal. And then during COVID, at first it kind of flip-flopped between what was going on, whether you could go in person or not. So I think right now, and what it has been for a while, is delivery meals. So you can basically schedule what you want. Like you could log on and place your order I think they just recently started opening up breakfast, because I know I've been seeing these emails that get sent out about you can order coffees again from them and stuff like that. So, but there's definitely lunches and dinners. So you can pick again, they try to make it similar to what they were doing previously. So there's salads and like grill food that go across all the days, but then there's also like a specialty item every day of the week that rotates and changes. But I believe the weekly schedule doesn't fluctuate. It's just like the days within your week do. So you go online, place your order, and then I think they actually deliver it. Like I think it gets dropped off to the building, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Yep. So that's really convenient. Here at school, there's nothing like, I'm not sure if in your undergrads or in your other prior experiences, if there was like dining dollars sort of a deal. There's nothing like that. So here we just pay with regular cash, credit card, any of that. So it's really just like you're ordering food on Uber Eats, or you're ordering food on like any place else that you would go out to eat. It's just the same style. You kind of go through. If you're in person, you go through, you pick what you want, you pay at the cash registers. Or now, if you want something, you go online, you order it, and then it gets delivered to you, or you can go pick it up.
And Marie, from a student perspective, what do you feel like the cost is? Do you feel like it's a good value, or is it, what are your thoughts?
As a student, I always thought the value was really good and the quality was really good. Like I never went in there kind of being like, oh, I don't want to get something from the cafeteria today. I was kind of the person that was like, oh, dang it, I left my lunch at home or whatever. I don't want to walk across the parking lot to get it. So I thought the food was really good. The value is good. I think things are like right around, like I can't remember costs in particular, but I remember nothing being like outrageous. Like I was never paying over $10 for a hamburger. It was always like very reasonable and stuff like that. So, and I always can remember the coffees were delicious and significantly cheaper than Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts. So definitely good pluses there. And then there's also vending machines. If you're back on campus, there's vending machines in like the very bottom floor or the basement of the building. And it's just, there's a ton of them. Some are like refrigerated and have yogurt in there and stuff like that. So if you're ever studying late and the cafeteria closes, there's still options for you downstairs. And those are like, it's a vending machine. I don't think it's not managed through the school. So those are obviously, you like pay for something and it's because you really need it. It's not really a good money value, but there are options if you're studying late at night and you really need a snack.
Thank you. We had just one clarifying question, that the parking fee is a one-time fee. So you just pay it, and then the entire time that you're affiliated with the university as a student, it's just that one-time $20 or $25 fee for that. And then Eric, we had a specific question about the Woodlands. So for the Woodlands apartment, should we wait to find out our roommate before establishing our accounts with gas and electric?
Yeah, typically roommate information, contact information is shared out to both residents at about 30 days prior to move-in. And I wouldn't try getting your account set up too much prior to that, just because those utility companies aren't really very fun to work with, and it might be easier to kind of tag team that with a roommate and each of you take one.
We had a question if we can accommodate early move-ins, and if the apartment that you're assigned to is available, if the person has moved out already and it's been turned and cleaned per the CDC guidelines, then we would be able to accommodate an early move-in for that. And then a question about pricing. You can find pricing on our website there for both locations on campus and the Woodlands. It's been updated for the 2021-2022 academic year. You can just literally do a Google search for RFUMS housing prices and they will pop up. So that's the last question that I am seeing. If I missed something, please put it back in so I can answer it. We can answer it for you. But Eric and Marie, do you have anything you would like to add? Oh, we had one come in. Sorry to cut you off before you started talking. Does financial aid cover Woodlands housing? So for billing, that's a really great question. We haven't talked about that yet. So for on-campus housing, your billing is tied to your student account. So if you have any financial aid or loans or scholarships, that would get applied to your student account. And since your housing is included in that, it would cover your housing account. For the Woodlands, if you have any aid, you would get that back as like a check in your account, and then you would need to pay monthly to the Woodlands. You can pay for up to 3 months in advance at the Woodlands, and that's typically what a quarter is. So we always recommend that you go ahead and pay your 3 months so that you just get that bill out of the way, and then you can kind of budget the rest of your money for that one. Eric, is there anything you want to add on that one?
No, I would just reinforce the idea that you pay quarterly. So as you get a disbursement, each disbursement is designed to carry over for a certain number of months. And I strongly urge you to pay for all of those months as soon as you get the disbursement. Well, you don't have to worry about budgeting and coming up short on that last month.
There is a library on campus and from what I hear, it's a pretty decent one. People like to spend a lot of time there studying. And then Eric, can you say again what the prices for washing and drying at the Woodlands is?
I believe it's $1.25 to wash and $1.25 to dry. They're card operated, so you purchase a card at the Woodlands Clubhouse, and then you can add value on it, either cash, credit, debit. And then, so you just use your card at the machine and it detracts the $1.25 for each load.
We had a question, if I'm moving in August, would I pick the 10-month option? Yes, if you're moving in August, you would pick the 10-month option. You would switch over to that 12-month when the next academic year when you're here for those full 12 months. So again, Eric, Marie, do you have anything you would like to add or end on?
There's one question that I didn't get asked that is a kind of a common one. It has to do with end of lease. At the end of the lease, we go through a renewal period. You are able to continue staying in your apartment continuously. There's not we have to move out because it's summer kind of a thing. So you can stay there for the full time. A lot of times people spend that first year and then they end up getting to know other people, and then so that there's also that option during that renewal period for you to move around and transfer, and maybe now you're going to move in with a roommate instead of living in a single because it's so much more cost effective, and now you found someone you can live with. So that is that transfer over and that renewal period is available for students. You don't have to move out until you're done.
And then I just wanted to, it just crossed my mind, I wanted to add this. If you are going to live in a 2-bedroom apartment, I know there's a questionnaire to fill out. That way they can match you to a roommate. Take it seriously, answer it honestly, and how you really, just like take it seriously and answer it honestly. There hasn't, by all good things and the grace of everyone, there really haven't been too many issues that I've heard of that have come across my way with roommate assignments. So if anyone's going that route, just to kind of reassure you that Amber and Eric really do a great job of matching people based off of those questions. And, don't be afraid. Sometimes I kind of miss not having a roommate and not having somebody to talk to all the time. So don't be timid and don't be afraid. It all works out.
We had a question, do residents living at the Woodlands tend to get to and from class by using a bike, or is it mostly walking? And I would say it's probably mostly walking, but there are bike racks at both locations.
Yeah, I concur. You can ride your bike, but it's going to be a pretty short trip. It's 197 steps, depending on stride strength and wind speed, and that's for both sides. So it's really a pretty quick walk.
All right, so are there any other questions that anybody has that they want to put in the chat? I am not seeing any. So we will download the chat, and if we miss a question, Eric and I are going to go through and make sure that you all get the answers. You can always email student.housing@roslynfranklin.edu, and Eric and I will get back to you with answers to your questions. If you haven't applied already, please go to the website and apply. It does not cost anything to apply, so you might as well apply and put your name on the list. And when it's time, we'll send you that assignment. And one last question, how safe is the walking path at night coming back from campus late? Anybody want, Marie, do you want to, Eric?
If you're not comfortable, that you can contact Campus Safety. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they'll escort you both to on-campus or to the Woodlands. But Marie, if you wanted to.
Yeah, I would say from a student perspective, the same as Eric. It's very safe. The parking lot. So if you're going towards the Woodlands, you pass soccer fields, but even with that being said, and there's trees there, it's really well lit. There's lights every so many feet. And then I know if you're coming to student housing, you're just walking through a big open parking lot. So there's tons of lights. And there's also a few of those blue, like emergency safety lights. So if there is an emergency, you could always make it over to one of those and activate it. I think those go directly to the police, but either way, what Eric said, Campus Safety is always around to give you a ride if you don't feel comfortable, to give you literally a ride for any reason. I feel bad for saying that, but they really make it an effort to make sure that we feel comfortable here at school and safe, whether you're in student housing, whether you're in Woodlands, or if you commute. They'll make sure that everybody getting to their car or just being around campus is definitely feeling safe. I remember, for example, I had early on in school, not COVID, so don't shun me, but not in COVID, my friends were over and there was all of a sudden out of nowhere, like a horrible thunderstorm came about. And me and my friends are out of state. None of us know how to deal with weather. I'm from California, and she definitely didn't know how to deal with like thunderstorms and really high winds. We kind of thought it was a joke until we went to open the door to leave, and it was like we really had to lean on the door to open it because the winds were so strong. And we called campus security, and we thought we were crazy for asking for a ride to get her. She was with me, so she was going from student housing, going back to the Woodlands. We thought we were crazy. We felt so bad, and they were so polite. They were like, "Oh, we're picking up somebody at 101, so then we'll meet you guys at 201." So, they really, if you just don't feel comfortable, they will drive you anywhere. So, there's great options being here, and there's kind of that great network of feeling safe and knowing who to call and who will answer at any time.
Thank you. All right, so we'll go ahead and end this. So we will have a copy of this like live, I think somewhere on the website, so you'll be able to reference it at some other point, or if you have friends who weren't able to join, you can refer them back to this as well. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to email student.housing@roslynfranklin.edu, and Eric and I will be more than happy to get back to you with the answers. But thank you again for taking the time out of your Thursday evening to join us. Hopefully we answered your questions, and thank you again.